A difficult conversation rarely feels difficult because of the words alone. It feels difficult because the words may change a relationship, expose disappointment, invite anger, or force a decision that cannot be quietly postponed. That is why a person can rehearse the sentence 10 times, know exactly what needs to be said, and still choose silence when the moment arrives. Avoiding a difficult conversation means delaying an honest exchange because the emotional cost feels too high. The topic might be money, performance, boundaries, apologies, resentment, or a decision someone has been avoiding. The mind treats the conversation like a threat, not just a task, so postponing it brings quick relief even when the problem keeps growing. The nervous system is part of the story. If the conversation might lead to rejection, criticism, conflict, or shame, the body can respond as if danger is close. The heart speeds up, the stomach tightens, and the person starts searching for a safer route. Silence becomes attractive because it lowers the immediate discomfort. Avoidance is powerful because it works in the short term. If an employee does not ask for feedback, they avoid hearing criticism today. If a friend does not mention feeling hurt, they avoid tension tonight. The relief is real, but it is purchased with uncertainty, resentment, and a larger conversation later. Imagine a manager who needs to tell a team member that deadlines keep slipping. The manager waits for the right mood, then a less busy week, then a private moment. Meanwhile, the employee keeps repeating the same mistake because nobody has clearly named the problem. The delayed conversation slowly becomes unfair to both people. In a relationship, avoidance can look gentle from the outside. Someone says, "It is fine," even when it is not. They may hope the partner notices, guesses correctly, and changes without being asked. When that does not happen, the silent person may feel even more alone, although the partner was never given a clear chance to respond. Many people are not avoiding the conversation itself. They are avoiding the imagined outcome. They picture the other person yelling, crying, leaving, judging them, or turning the issue back on them. The imagination fills in the worst scene, and the person responds to that imagined scene as if it has already happened. Identity can also make honesty harder. A person who sees themselves as nice may struggle to say something that could disappoint another person. A person who sees themselves as competent may avoid admitting confusion. A person who avoids conflict may treat directness as cruelty, even when directness would actually prevent deeper harm. A common misunderstanding is that difficult conversations must be dramatic. Many of the best ones are calm, specific, and brief. The problem is not that the topic is emotional. The problem is that the speaker enters without clarity, waits too long, or uses blame instead of describing the actual behavior and impact. Timing matters, but waiting for perfect timing can become another form of avoidance. A serious issue should not be raised in the middle of a crowd, during exhaustion, or while someone is rushing out the door. But if the standard is a perfectly peaceful moment where nobody feels uncomfortable, the conversation may never happen. A useful start is small and concrete. Instead of opening with a speech, a person can say, "I want to talk about something," before it becomes bigger. That sentence lowers the pressure. It signals that the goal is repair or clarity, not attack. The opening should make the topic visible without dumping every emotion at once. Specificity protects the conversation from becoming a character trial. "You never respect me," invites defense. "When the meeting changed and I found out last, I felt excluded from a decision I was responsible for," gives the other person something real to understand. The more specific the issue, the easier it is to discuss without losing the point. Difficult conversations also require listening, not just courage to speak. Sometimes the other person knows a detail that changes the story. Sometimes they did not understand the impact. Sometimes they disagree. Listening does not mean surrendering the issue. It means allowing the conversation to become accurate instead of staying trapped in one person's private version. Some conversations are difficult because the other person has a pattern of dismissing, interrupting, or punishing honesty. In that case, preparation matters even more. The speaker may need to choose a public but respectful setting, write down the main point, or decide in advance what boundary they will hold if the discussion becomes abusive. The cost of delay is often hidden. A 5-minute conversation avoided in January can become months of resentment by June. In workplaces, small corrections become performance problems. In families, tiny disappointments become emotional distance. In friendships, silence can turn into withdrawal that the other person does not understand. Repair is usually easier when the issue is still small. A person can say, "I should have brought this up sooner," and then name the problem without using the delay as another weapon. Owning the avoidance helps. It shows the conversation is not only about what the other person did, but also about making communication cleaner now. Practice helps because the brain learns from repetition. Someone who has avoided honesty for years may not become direct overnight. They can begin with lower stakes conversations, returning a wrong order, asking a colleague for clarification, or telling a friend they need to reschedule. Each small act teaches the body that discomfort is survivable. The goal is not to become harsh. It is to become clear before silence turns into damage. A difficult conversation is often an act of respect because it gives the other person real information instead of guesses, resentment, or quiet punishment. Avoidance may feel kind in the moment, but clarity is often kinder over time. When people avoid difficult conversations, they are usually trying to protect themselves from pain. The problem is that silence does not remove the pain, it only moves it into the future. Learning to speak earlier, more specifically, and with steadier emotion gives relationships a better chance to handle reality while it is still manageable. Sometimes avoidance begins with a memory. If past conversations turned into shouting, punishment, mockery, or silence, the body may treat a new conversation as danger before the other person even speaks. The fear is not only about the current topic, it is also about what the nervous system expects might happen next. Difficult conversations also threaten identity. Saying, "I felt hurt," may make someone worry they're being needy. Saying, "I need help," may make them feel weak. Saying, "This is not working," may make them feel disloyal. The words are simple, but the self-image underneath can feel exposed. Another reason people avoid these talks is timing. A person may raise an issue when they are already exhausted, hungry, or angry, then decide the conversation itself was the problem. Often the problem was not honesty. It was trying to do emotional repair when both people had no capacity left. A useful first step is to make the conversation smaller. Instead of unloading every frustration, start with one clear issue, one example, and one request. That does not guarantee a perfect response, but it gives the other person something concrete to understand instead of a storm of accumulated resentment. The conversation you postpone is often the one shaping your behavior already. If you are editing yourself, rehearsing imaginary arguments, or feeling resentful before anything has been said, the issue has already entered the relationship. Naming it carefully may feel uncomfortable, but it is usually less costly than letting silence make the decision for you.